Into the middle of Lake Michigan on an inflatable duck. The mother of the child says she was holding both of her children on the duck when the wind swept it away. She was able to grab one of the kids but couldn't rescue the other one. Luckily, a boater was able to pull the child from the water after the duck overturned. So far this year, there have been 36 drownings on the Great Lakes, half of them on Lake Michigan. There were calls today to ground the Boeing 737 MAX forever. The jets have been out of the sky for 4 months, and that's longer than any other aircraft in history, following 2 deadly crashes. Today, 2 men who lost family members in Ethiopia went before Congress to demand changes in the way new jets are approved for use.
The Boeing 737 MAX crash has killed my wife, my 3 children, my mom-in-law.
Still heartbroken, Paul Vrydaghs told the House Transportation Committee about losing his entire family when Ethiopian Flight 302 crashed.
I miss going to the playgrounds with them and, having some playful moments.
Vrydaghs testified alongside Michael Stumo, who lost his 24-year-old daughter, with pictures of crash victims on display.
Boeing's apologies to cameras have not been apologies to the families.
I do personally apologize to the families.
Boeing CEO Dennis Muhlenberg made that TV apology exclusively to Norah O'Donnell in May.
We feel terrible about these accidents, and we apologize for what happened.
Boeing announced today it would give $50 million to the families of those killed, part of a fund it created earlier this month. Several families called that a PR stunt. Paul Vrydaghs thinks instead the Boeing executives, including the CEO, should face criminal charges, and the 737 MAX should be scrapped entirely.
I would like to see the plane not fly again.
The plane is too important to Boeing's bottom line and to many of the world's biggest airlines not to fly again. The question is when? That timeline has kept slipping. Boeing hopes it will be this year, but sources across the industry say there's growing concern that could slip to sometime in 2020. A freak accident is being blamed for a 6-year-old's death. Officials in Utah said this little girl died after being hit in the head by a golf ball hit by her father. The family said the girl was waiting in a golf cart about 20 yards from where her father was teeing off when the ball veered off course and struck her in the base of the skull. Investigators say they've never seen an accident like this before. Chief Meteorologist McCall Vrydaghs is here, and there are some big concerns about heat the next few days.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations you don't want to take it lightly. We have heat advisories that are in effect beginning tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. and is going to last until 10 p.m. Thursday afternoon. And then after that, we're going to be dealing with what is called an excessive heat watch. That begins at noon on Friday until Saturday at 8 o'clock in the evening. So what's the difference? Well, a heat advisory is issued when heat index values are projected to reach 100 degrees up to 104, at which point when the heat index is expected to get higher than that, 105 or greater, an excessive heat watch that will then eventually become a warning is issued throughout the Miami Valley. The only caveat is Montgomery County, because you can have 2 consecutive days between 100 to 104 that would also prompt an excessive heat warning. Either way, what you want to do is make sure that you're taking this very seriously, because once you get heat index values in the triple digits, it's possible, if not likely, that you may suffer from something like heat exhaustion or heat stroke, and it can come on very quickly. And when we look at the statistics, you may not know this, but heat-related deaths are the greatest number of deaths that we see across the entire country every year. In 2018, 108 people passed away because of heat. So you don't want to ignore any of those symptoms if you start to feel dizzy or nauseous at any point into the next few days. We're still sitting in the upper 70s now. We're at 77 degrees. It still feels like nearly 80 degrees because our dew point is hovering at 71. And that dew point is going to maintain itself there. And that's why those heat index values are going to get so high into the upcoming weekend. That, along with the fact that those highs will be in the 90s. 71 will be our overnight low. We may see some patchy fog by morning because of the moisture content that's in place. Those dew points around the 70s, and with a little bit of cooling, lighter winds and clearer skies tonight. When we look at our visibility map at the time being, not much issue as far as visibility falling off. But as we get closer and closer to sunrise tomorrow morning, that's when we might start to see some of those areas of patchy fog that could be locally dense. So check in with meteorologist Dante Jones in the morning. He'll point out those denser spots for you. For tomorrow, we wake up in the mid-70s, but quickly jump into the 80s by around 10 o'clock in the morning. Your high tomorrow afternoon hitting up at 92 degrees for the city of Dayton. As I mentioned, though, the heat index value, or what it will feel like tomorrow, is going to be much greater than that. It will feel like the 70s in the morning. By lunchtime, already feeling like the 90s. While we're still sitting in those 80s, it's going to feel like 93 degrees for us in Dayton, 93 in Xenia. By 5, 6 o'clock, that's when we're going to see the most intense heat of the day, as we're up around 100 degrees across most spots in the Miami Valley, give or take 1 or 2 degrees with your heat index value. That is not even the hottest day that I'm forecasting as we head into the weekend. Friday's heat index will be anywhere between 105 to 110, similar for us on Saturday, and not much relief on Sunday either. While the heat index value comes down slightly, we're still looking at the heat index up around the triple-digit range. So here's how you stay safe into the next few days. Make sure you avoid doing any strenuous activities outside. So no jogging, no prolonged running around with the kiddos outside. Stay inside with the AC. Also, don't ignore any of those symptoms. If you start to feel dizzy or nauseous, get inside. Cool yourself off, drink lots of fluid, and if you're not recovering, make sure that you get a hold of some emergency personnel to take care of your situation. Also, keep an eye on your pets. Don't leave them outside for too long because they do have fur, so that is a heavier jacket and a coat for them to wear as well, and they can heat up much quicker. Saturday, we start out dry. There may be a few pop-up thunderstorms for Saturday afternoon. There will be a better opportunity for some storms on Sunday. Temperatures through the weekend, as I mentioned, in the 90s. We'll fall to the 80s for a high on Monday, and then the best day is Tuesday, 80 degrees with low humidity and mostly sunny. Meteorologist Dante Jones, as I mentioned, will be up with you at 4:25, tracking any areas of patchy fog.
Thanks, McCall. Starting tomorrow, the Washington Township Rec Center will be operating as a cooling center to help people beat the heat. It will be open tomorrow through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday from 8 to 5. Sunday from 1 to 5. There will be outlets available for people to recharge their phones, plus access to paid services like the Rec Center's pool and fitness room. People living in Springboro now have a new place to cool off. This splash pad sits inside Casey Jane Park on Lytle, 5 Points, and Crossley Roads. It's open every day from 10 to 8.
I love my dad.
That little girl is missing her military daddy doll, where the family thinks it could be and how they hope to get it back.